All right. It is 5:30. I will call this regular City Council meeting of the City of International Falls to order. This is a regular meeting per Minnesota Statute 13D.021. It allows meetings to be conducted over the phone or by electronic means under the following conditions. The mayor has determined an in-person meeting or a meeting conducted under Section 13D.02 is not practical due to a health pandemic. The mayor and all councillors participating in the meeting can hear one another and all can hear the discussion. All of the members that will be attending this meeting are here and present. At least one member of the council is physically here. All votes will have to be a roll call vote. However, since all of the voting members are here, we can just call the question. We will still be able to engage with the members that are online. So if anyone has anything to bring up to the council during our audience or on an agenda item, we are also able to bring people in if we need to. With that being said, the first item, which again is not on our agenda because of being in a pandemic, but I would like, since we have so many people here, to stand and give the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. And just another note, make sure that the councillors and anyone in the audience that wants to bring something up speaks into the microphone directly, or else those that are online and the folks that are watching on KCC TV will not be able to hear the discussion in the council chambers. So the first item on our agenda is to approve the agenda with any additions and deletions. We do have 3 additions and 1 deletion. The first 2 are under new business, which discuss mask policy and advanced measurements and planning for crazy days, not icebox days. And the final one would be the blight report. And we are removing the off-site gambling for the Rainier Rec Club for the Elks brat feed. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the additions and the 1 deletion.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Nelson. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Deach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we'll go to the approval of the minutes from our last regular City Council meeting, which was July 6th. Chair would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So move.
We have a motion by Councillor Deach. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Kraus. Any discussions? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we will go to the payments of claims. Our transfers this month are to the 101 General Fund, from the 601 Water, $5,559.67, and we have from the 603 Sewer Fund, $4,392 even. Going to the Permanent Improvement Fund, $66,666.66. That's being split evenly between the 601 Water and the 603 Sewer, both in the amount of $33,333.33. Next, we'll go to the Reserve for Capital Outlay, which will be $25,760.42. Coming from Water, $19,136.17, and from the 603 Sewer, $6,624.25, for a total transfers of $102,378.75. Next, we'll go into our accounts payable and claims. The regular City of International Falls claims is $1,585,153.17. Airport commission claims are $6,609.74. And library board claims is $6,278.82, for a total of $1,598,041.73, making this the first time this calendar year that we've had more International Falls claims than airport claims. Chair would entertain a motion to accept the payments and claims and the transfers.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Nelson. Any discussion, questions, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we go to open audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to bring something to the council that is not on the agenda? Do you want to? Yeah. But yeah, either way. Just speak into the microphone and state your name.
Matt Corbett. I've got a petition from 47 different business owners regarding the alley abatement for next week. Not sure if I can make it to next week's meeting, so I'm just trying to drop it off now for Ken and the 5 councilors.
Absolutely. If you want to accept that, Ken, we'll have that. We'll have it available for public comment when we have the public hearing. Thank you, Matt. Anybody online have anything to bring to the attention of the council? Okay, hearing none. We have the second and final reading of Contract Ordinance 970 to award the bid for the library steam to hot water heating system conversion to Shannon's Plumbing and Heating in the amount of $214,400. Chair would entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Nelson for the second reading. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Deach. Is there anybody that wants to speak on awarding the contract to Shannon's Plumbing and Heating? This is a public hearing, so we are open to discussion if anyone wants to bring anything to the council. Hearing none, I will call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have 2 items on the consent agenda. One is to approve the appointment of Shayla Spry and family to serve as the City Beach Camp host July through Labor Day weekend. And the second one is to approve the Fun Food Factory for vendor use of Smoky Bear Park during the mill shutdown, tentatively October 5th through the 17th. Chair would entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Deach. There is no discussion on the consent agenda. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. All right, next we're going to have, I'm actually going to move these in reverse order because I think it makes more sense that way. We're going to go to number 2 on the new business. Discuss advanced measures and planning for Icebox Days. Council information. I have taken a handful of phone calls in the past weekend with the numbers of COVID-19 going up in our community. From our last council meeting, we had, I believe it was 16 cases when we last met as a council, and we had 1 death in Cooch County. Today we have 37 cases and 2 deaths in Cooch County. So it's more than doubled in our community in the 2 weeks since we've last met. One of the concerns that I've been fielding questions on is how do we allow how do we allow Crazy Days to go on as a publicly funded thing during a pandemic when we push out the 4th of July and other stuff. And a lot of the people that I've spoke to, I said I understand their concerns. And I'm just as concerned as they are about the public health in our community. Secondly, I'm also concerned about our small businesses, specifically the small businesses that were forced to be closed when some of the bigger box retailers and grocery stores and everything else were still able to be open, along with all your online ordering and stuff like that. It's a concern that I have that if we were to cancel Crazy Days, that would hurt our small businesses on our main street quite a bit. But I think that as we've done with a lot of things, we should look at some form of a compromise. It being a city event, I think that we should have some advanced measures put in place, whether it's wearing masks for that particular event or whatever we're looking at. But to me, I think at the very least, one of the things that we can put on is to wear masks at that specific event, since it is a city-sponsored event. And secondly, some of our bigger businesses have been very good about mandating masks in theirs. Well, this is our event, and I think that maybe that's an option that we have. I'd also like to bring in Tricia Heibel, which I did give a very, very quick text message today, just letting her know that we were going to have a discussion about this evening, and get her thoughts on how the council should move forward with this. Do you want to unmute, Tricia?
Oops, hello. Yeah, so Crazy Days has been an interesting just kind of point of discussion, and I would like to say that, you know, coming in, I totally understand and share the concern and the input about where people are at about it, and have been trying to kind of piecemeal through the parts of it and, you know, make what I feel is right for all of us to come to the best decision for everybody. I mean, I'm not here to hold a hard line. Like, I'm going to say that it like right up front, but I am going to kind of just lay out the I don't even call them facts, the points of consideration again, that from the chamber that we kind of took in moving forward and where we're at today, and bring that forward for discussion. So when it comes to Crazy Days, when I talked with the council in June, the point that I wanted to make, and I felt like a distinguishing event kind of around it, was that this isn't the same festival gathering as like 4th of July and stuff like that. This is really just a coordinated day of sales for our businesses. It's like if all of our businesses were having a garage sale and they are having an opportunity. There's not a lot of investments for business in product to be sold at Crazy Days. It's really like a clearance day. It's just a massive sales day for them to dig stuff out of the basement and the back room and maybe past seasonal or year's product and have an opportunity at very low clearance prices, hopefully get something for that versus just having it sit or be thrown or whatever they do with old merchandise. I am not sure. So that is the function of what it is. I've also, we've talked about how outdoors outdoors has been deemed a safer, less transmutable place for coronavirus than indoors. So just as our bars and restaurants have been allowed to expand their service areas into creating outdoor seating for their customers, this is one day that our retail has that same opportunity, and that they are able to throw racks and tables outside and have that kind of little section for outdoor commerce. I know, though, that when I came and talked to the council in June, we did all and have always acknowledged that we are moving forward as is, but knowing that this could change, and we would be watching how things were progressing, not only within our community, but within the state, and if there was any change to regulation that might prevent that. There has not currently been a change to regulation. Our, retail stores are still open and allowed to be there. I did, as of last Thursday, also receive my permit from MnDOT, so they authorized the closure of the road. And when I've been talking with the retailers about it, as I really pulled them first in June and said, are you guys even interested in doing this? Because if this does or doesn't feel like something you want to bring forward this year or at this time, well, we can delay or postpone or move. And the feedback was that they wanted to. And I have about 20 of our downtown and or local area retailers and businesses who have signed up to participate in Crazy Days. And I have had 0 call to decline participation. So one of the other things that we went into for planning and space, so on my MnDOT permit, I asked for anywhere from 1 to 3 downtown blocks to be closed off. Would have been about, just the space allowed for the businesses to expand for those tables and racks that they were moving out, and to also allow good distancing between tables and groups, because there are often, nonprofit organizations, independent marketers and retailers of things, and others who come downtown and put in a table and want to be a part of that. And this year that is much lower than it normally is, as I would expect. There were only 4 non-downtown entities who have called the chamber to sign up and request tables downtown. So I definitely won't need 3 blocks. I don't even know if I'll need 2, especially if we could curb anybody around the avenues if need be. I mean, there's more than 4, even on that main city block, who don't normally occupy their retail storefront space, where I could stick, like one table of a gentleman who wants to sell pictures, and it's just like informational tables primarily, other than Shay does come always with a couple tables of merchandise that they are selling. So the business, and Friday, right, watching numbers last week, Friday, I did not a comprehensive, but I did a little loop downtown and popped in and out of like 4 or 5 retailers and wanted to talk with them about how they were feeling about things. And nobody again has asked to decline. We kind of talked through what is best and safest way for that. I mean, just, like any time of engaging with others today, people are concerned about spread and being safe. At this point, we have also started to modify our advertising and make sure that we are including, shop safe, social distance, wear a mask. We've been making signs to put, like, again, we're still moving as if, but this is all about today's discussion too. Signs to put up on the barricades and to give to the retailers for their storefronts or their rack ends and things like that, to post, again, reminding people to please wear a mask and things like that. So we are kind of moving forward. I also, last Thursday, we have our community COVID response team call, which is all of the cities in the county government, all the city governments, all of our medical entities within the city, county public health, and others who are attend and are a part of that call. And so as part of the chamber update, I brought up Crazy Days as well, and I wanted to throw that out to that group for commentary and feedback. And there was one gentleman from the DNR who just said, well, I don't know if I would do it if I were you. I was asked a question by Derek Foss, sort of like we all had talked in June about the 250 people or not. And we kind of had that same discussion as we did here about, it's not really a venue. Is it them? Is it individual business capacity? Like, what is the truth of numbers around that? And also knowing that, right, like our Canadian customers won't be able to come and join us this year for that, which lessens people, hoping that we wouldn't have the same crowds. And, again, they aren't my approval source, but there was no objections from that group either. So I did want to bring it here. I will say I received 2 phone calls last week at the chamber office from citizens who just wanted to call and just, express their opinion, which was that they felt that it should not happen. So in full disclosure, that those are the feedback, the comments on the whole spectrum that I have received to date regarding the event. So I totally, I mean, it feels kind of weird, and I appreciate, like, to do, because it kind of is under this, lack of festivals. So I really don't know about the crowds, or I just don't think that we're going to have a lot of people there. Our role in this as the chamber is just kind of back end organizing and advertising. So my thing has just kind of been, if the businesses want to do it, I will help promote them for it. But I have acknowledged to everybody from the beginning that this decision is nowhere near mine, nor mine alone. And so that's where I stand today with info, and I'm open to just questions, discussion, or thoughts, ideas of what else we could do or should do or not do around the event. So, and just one other point of clarification, while I have not confirmed with Jennifer Gustafson, I did see her make a post recently that she is bringing her trailer back to On the Rocks and is going to be doing food again outside, so she may be there. And then I have 2 food trucks who we would stick at Centennial Park, where we've kind of made a little food court in the past, and that would be Barajas and Fun Food Factory are the 2 who reached out to the chamber. So that is my kind of crazy days update.
You're the best. So what are the thoughts of the council on how to move forward with this? Do we leave it the way it is? Do we put a mask policy for that event? Because it is a joint consideration between us and the chamber, or do we cancel it? I mean, where are we at? My thoughts are just making masks, because I'm very concerned about the public health and people being elbow to elbow looking at stuff. I also feel for the business community that has not had an opportunity to be open or went to curbside, which, let's be honest, this is really curbside when we talk about crazy days. So that's kind of where I'm at, but I'd like to hear from you guys too on where you'd like to see this go. Councillor Deach?
Boy, this is a tough one. I know we said we'd readdress this as it came closer to the event. This is a tough one. I feel sorry for the small businesses if we should cancel it. I can't see how we're going to enforce mask use. We can't even do that in the stores. It's a tough one. I would say we've got to cancel it. That's my opinion, just for public safety. I understand there's 3 deaths instead of 2, and I think we're just asking for more trouble. If it was up to me, the bars would be closed also.
Okay. Councillor Nelson?
I'm pretty on the fence about this too. Mainly, so the only reason I'm leaning more towards not canceling is because the majority of it is outside. But I do struggle with the enforcement of mask policy, because based on what I've seen on Facebook, there's just a lot of residents who downright refuse to wear masks, whether it's a thing that they're thinking their rights are infringed upon or whatever it is. If we had some sort of solid plan for a mask policy, I would be much more in favor of keeping Crazy Days open. I just don't know if they cite a medical issue, isn't it a HIPAA violation to ask what the medical issue is? I don't know that much, but I kind of feel like we can't ask. And then that's in everyone's back pocket is, well, I have asthma. And no one can ask me if I actually have asthma. So I do struggle with that. I'm leaning at this point towards canceling. But, I do want to hear the other councillors' perspectives, and anyone else, I guess, that would have input, just because I am always open to new information or better ideas or how we do this better. Because I do feel bad for a lot of the downtown businesses, especially the ones that aren't like bars and stuff like that. Because, all of the COVID cases where business owners came forward, they're bar owners or restaurant owners or something, where we saw these huge studies where it was going to be really bad in restaurants. It's not necessarily retail stores. So that's hard, but
I guess I have two thoughts. Number one, and I guess Tricia, this is for you. Has there been any talk of doing like a virtual option? I've ordered stuff from local businesses downtown and talked to them on the phone and got it kind of without having to go in there. I've had some deliver stuff right to my house, trying to shop local as much as possible. So I don't know if that's an option to kind of ruminate on. And option number two, I think if an individual is concerned about their health, then don't go. And I mean, the mask policy, I was in Super 1 today. I had my mask on. The only reason I don't have my mask on right now is I'm more than 6 feet away from everybody, so I feel pretty confident. But I mean, we can enforce the mask policy. Miners Incorporated is not people. If they're in there without a mask on, they're asked to leave, and they have to put a mask on or leave. Menards, they've got them for sale right at the door. You don't put it on the way in the door, you're going to have to buy one or turn around and walk out. So I mean, you can do it, but on the same token, if people are concerned for their health, then don't go down there. But I think it gives people an opportunity to do something. I mean, I would like to see it with masks on, but again, if you're scared, don't go. But
Well, listening to, go ahead, Leon.
No disrespect, but people that don't wear masks do wear masks. That's not the big picture. The big picture is you touch something somebody else has touched, you take it home to your elderly parents, grandparents, maybe your children even though there's not as much of a risk as children, you're still carrying that home. The mask is great, I love that, but it doesn't mean that you're going to stop it. We've got this expanding, and we knew since the 4th of July this was going to explode, and it's just on the beginning of it. I don't think we should be doing anything that's going to enhance it.
Mr. Mayor, devil's advocate, isn't that the same if anybody walks into Super 1 and picks up a thing of macaroni and cheese and decides not to buy it and they put it down, a person's taking that same exact risk, are they not? Correct,
that is. But why prolong it? Why put more out there? Why put more risk out there?
And so then my thoughts on this are putting together the thoughts of everyone that we had here. I appreciate the fact that it's an outdoor event, and sunlight and moving air. I think that the businesses there definitely need to offload some of their products, whether it's, like Tricia had said, stuff that they've had in back storage for a little while, or legitimately the products that they bought full well expecting to sell in March, April, May, which they didn't have that opportunity. I think that if we do decide to cancel the event, I'm personally just not in favor of that. However, I think I probably got the same phone calls that Tricia did, and the concern from at least a couple of the people was very real. They've had deaths in their family due to COVID, and I'm not trying to make my decision on one or two people because they wanted it to be canceled, and I think that we can do it safer. I also think, for as difficult and hard as it is, if it's our event and we're talking about maybe making it, and how do you enforce the mask mandate for the event? We do have police officers that we could have one just patrol down there and just politely talk to people. I mean, it's not, you're not going to get a fine for being down there in the park, or in our downtown district, but we can have masks available there for people. I believe the science. I believe that we can do this, and I also believe we can do it better than just leaving it the way it is. So then that's just kind of my thoughts on it. It's difficult. I mean, we have two polar opposites in our community: shut everything down or leave everything open. There has to be a balance somewhere between. And my heart goes out for the families of the people that have lost loved ones and people that are sick in our community right now. But at what point do we shut down our Main Street for our mom and pop organizations that only have a finite window to try to make money? They're not getting all of the idea that they're all getting the PPE money, which is the Payment Protection Program, or government surpluses to keep their businesses open. It's just not real. I mean, if some of us were not able to collect a paycheck for 6 months, or even having to take a 3/4 cut in our salary to feed our families and to be able to have our kids have clothes and stuff. And I know that that's kind of extreme, but that's the reality for some of our Main Street businesses. Small business owners aren't rolling in cash. Small business owners have enough to get through the year sometimes. So I don't see how we shut down the event, but I do think that we do have to make it safer for those that want to attend. And some businesses have been really good about how they want to handle their business with the coronavirus. That's why we have some businesses have been closing since. Some of them have been not so good. So I think for an event that we're chairing, we have to be the leaders and say, we're either going to cancel it or we're going to make it that we're going to be wearing masks. I don't see any way that we just let it go the way it is.
I guess everything you said is true, 100%. But I also look at this, if one person dies, if it's my mother, my grandfather, whatever it may be, was it worth having this open? I sympathize, as they say, for the small business. But what's somebody going to say when it comes down the road? Oh, my grandpa died because of this. And maybe he didn't. Maybe it was something else that caused it, but they blame it on. This is just asking for trouble. And I think any type of gathering, as I said at 2 meetings before, is something we should avoid.
I have a question.
May I respond to a couple of things, Mr. Mayor?
Well, 1 second. Councillor Nelson is making a point.
I just actually had a question for you, Tricia. Have you gotten any sort of read from business owners' willingness to enforce a mask policy? I mean, are they, if we were to put something like that, are they willing to turn away business, or is that not a priority for them?
I haven't directly asked that question, to be honest, Chelsea. I've been kind of watching where businesses are going, and one of the messages from the chamber that we've been just trying to promote as well is, how to be a good customer in the time of Corona, as well as, a business and move your way through this. And, part of that is abiding by the business's requests. Like, every business is finding their path through this and doing, outside of mandates of their own decisions, are trying to figure out what is always best for their customers, their employees, and all of that, and make that work. This came up. I had somebody make reference to being and I don't know which resort, so it doesn't matter, but being out at a resort and walked by and said, oh, there were too many people in the gift shop, which kind of was like, okay, well, where does that go? Was there somebody working in the gift shop? Mm-hmm. And they said no. And I said, okay, because that's part of it with businesses, like putting police, hiring extra staff. That's just more overhead in Corona, where my income just doesn't match that, to have people, kind of being social police. Like, we, as the customer, have to take some personal responsibility along with that as well. And if I go to the gift shop or I go to the sales rack and somebody's there, I have to stop myself and pause and wait and give time, just like in the grocery stores where they're trying to ask people to social distance as you move around. Nobody can really, keep that 6-foot distance. We're really hoping that everybody is doing their part to help contribute to creating a safe environment, and that you're either not going in, or if I'm in the gift shop, as just an example, and other people come in and I'm uncomfortable, that I leave. Too, and can help balance it that way. The third option is everybody's in the gift shop and they're okay with that, and that's a hard one, where I think everybody's feeling their way through this, of telling them no, they can or can't be there. 2 quick points if I can sneak in on. One is, I also planned on reaching out to both Dan McDonegal, I can't think of his last name, our new community ed director, and Derek Foss at Public Health, where we've got those racks of masks, and to say, could we move those downtown for a day? If we still have those, could we put those at either end and, encourage people, take a mask if you don't have one, since those have just kind of been freely given out to the community, because I think the mask thing leaves you in one of 3 places. I'm either rejecting the customer, I'm providing the mask, or I'm selling the mask. So I think like the Hideaway has had masks for sale at times. I don't know if there's others that do. We could promote where to buy one. We could have the giveaways. We could definitely be, encouraging in signage where it goes beyond that. It's just kind of hard to control people, unfortunately, truly. But, I've also talked with some store owners who are, I talked with Nancy Imhoff last Friday about it. And, one of the things where she's been making considerations about Facebook is she's like, I normally do a sale on a very popular kind of jeans. And she's like, I don't want to do that this year in conjunction because that just pulls too many people in and too much in the dressing rooms. And like she goes, I've seen what that does when I sale those jeans. So she, has made the decision, like, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to have more stuff outside and less indoor sales to kind of keep it moved out there. So there was, these retailers, though, to the point we're talking small business, I think what they've shared over the last few years with us when we've had a lot of just discussion on Crazy Days as a whole is that, this day, and again, if it moves, it may or may not have the same effectiveness. It could, but this day of sales is akin to Black Friday for them. So when they're coming out of like really low sales, this is sort of one of those injection points to their bottom line that they are just hoping in some fashion they are allowed to have. And so, Joe, Kraus, you also about the virtual. I think that our retailers have been trying to get creative if they didn't have a strong online presence before of coming up with some of that. But managing an online store is a lot for inventory and keeping all that up. So I don't know that Crazy Days could translate that easily because that isn't stuff like that they would probably necessarily have active for those that do online commerce directly, that they would have all those kind of older items available. And it's a lot of like onesie, twosies kind of things on a table too. I like that, that's a good idea if there's anything that they could do with that, but I don't know for this particular event how that translates.
All right, well, we've had a lot of discussion on this, so the chair would entertain a motion on how to proceed with Crazy Days, and we'll just leave it at that. Well, I, as a member of this council, would make the motion to have Crazy Days move forward as scheduled with masks and having an officer patrol the area. That is my motion. Is there a second?
I can second that.
We have a motion by myself and a second by Councillor Kraus. Discussion?
Mayor.
Please.
Mayor, question then, your motion would have a officer on patrol in the area. Would it be the officer's responsibility to enforce the mask policy then? And if they see persons that do not have a mask on, to ask them to leave the area? Is that what your intention is?
That is my intention. No fine, just ask them to leave the area if they're not willing to wear a mask for that event.
Can I ask
Please.
And actually, this is for you, Tricia. So if we were to, let's just say we go through with this, would your retailers too enforce the masks that day? Because I mean, a lot of the places I think of, I don't want to name anything by name, but there's a great big one on the corner really close to the border that's pretty busy that day. Would the employees be willing to enforce it, or is it going to all be out on, I'm just trying to figure out, is it going to be a mix like normal where you're in the stores and on the street, or are we going to try and keep it all in the street? I guess we need some cooperation if we're going to do masks.
I think if, the caveat, if that's the right word, in all of this is always enforcement, right, of what we can say. So if it is deemed masks and we are strongly recommending, asking, stating that we're requiring, if the message back to the retailers is, this was the agreement, is, we encourage everybody to be always, you're all doing what you are doing right normally, but on this day, one of the exceptions to be allowed to move forward was the council requirement of masks, the best that I can do is I can pass that along, right? I don't know unless we come up with what are repercussions, like how I either would be able to enforce that and what kind of legs I have to do that, right? I can just do the same as just say, look, we're really, it's a lot of people moving around that day more than normally. Not more than the normal crazy days, but maybe more than what you're seeing right now in terms of foot traffic. So with our numbers increasing, that was the request, but all I feel like I can really make is the request.
Sure. Thank you. Like I said, we're just kind of meeting halfway. I mean, if it passes and we make this concession, I mean, that would be kind of the ask.
So, any other discussion?
Yeah, just to clarify, I mean, we've already made a motion to let Crazy Days go on. This is just a modification of it. And Councillor Deach and I don't think have enough to cancel an event, so I'm going to vote in favor of this, just because this is the next best option, and I do feel for these business owners, and I would just kindly ask that they work with us and help us enforce this, because I don't think a police officer walking around, I think it's going to help, certainly, definitely for outside, but I don't know that even a police officer can, I mean, technically they're private, that's something I don't want to get into, but there's...
To clarify, a split decision is a no.
Well, and that I appreciate what Councillor Nelson is saying, because yes, if this motion were to fail, then it would just go on as normal.
With nothing, yes.
Correct.
Yep.
So, anybody else have anything to bring up? Okay, hearing none, I will call the question.
Okay, I need a little more clarification there. Is the vote whether we're having it or we're doing it with masks?
We're doing it with masks. If this fails, we're doing it without masks.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to vote yes on that.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next is discussion for the City of International Falls mask policy. There is no action to be taken today. It's discussion only, and it fits right into the conversation that we're having, and that's why I want to do Crazy Days first. The issue at hand is, I don't know if you guys have seen, but we're in the top 6 fastest growing counties in the state of Minnesota for coronavirus, although our numbers are still low, being at 37 for an area with approximately 13,000 people. It's still climbing. I have some major reservations with making a mask policy for the City of International Falls, but I want to have a quick discussion about it, and in the event that we want to move forward in any capacity, I want it to be a special city council meeting. I don't want to do it in a regular meeting, but I think that still gives the opportunity for people to voice their opinions, especially since this is just put on the agenda today so we can have the discussion. I'm very dismayed that the county has voted to make masks. They strongly encourage that. As I understand, our sister city of Rainier has voted this down or did not vote on it. I'm not sure which one that was. I didn't get a clear indication of that. But what my concern is a vast majority of the commerce of Cooch County is done in International Falls. Two of our biggest industry or businesses in our community, which is Miners owning both Super One and County Market, and Menards have both went to mask policies, which have to have a vast majority of the employees and the business for our area. What my concern is if we're not going to get any support from the state and making it state mandated, if we are not going to get any support from the county making it county mandated, and our adjoining cities are not willing to do this, to me it seems like we would be making a decision that would be forcing our small businesses and forcing business to move out of our area. I already know people are shopping more online. I already know that people are driving to Bemidji and Virginia to do their grocery shopping, to go to Walmarts and other facilities.
Can I
Please.
add to that? Target, Walmart, Miners, anything in Virginia, they already have a mask policy. Same goes for Bemidji.
I didn't know Virginia had went to mask.
No, Target Incorporated, Walmart Incorporated, Miners Incorporated, Menards,
Gotcha.
your major retailers are already doing it.
So that's kind of where I'm at, is it's hard for me to make a mandate for the city limits of International Falls when none of our partner organizations in this area are willing to do it. However, we are the best regional hub that we possibly have, but our business is down so dramatically because of Fort Francis. Like I said, I just want to have a discussion with the council and see where we stand on if we were to do a mask policy for the community. And it's just an open discussion. We're not having any action this evening. Councillor Deach.
Boy, I'm always in the nasty position being first.
Do you want me to go to Councillor
No,
Kraus?
that's all right. That's all right. It's always thrown to me first, which is good. That's fine. I don't care. I'm a mask person. I wear my mask all the time. I'm for masks. I would like to see all the businesses have masks. Nothing wrong with us being the first city in our area to require masks. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure before long the other cities would follow suit. As I said before, this is getting out of control. We got to do everything we can to help maintain it.
Councillor Nelson?
I would be in favor of a mandatory mask policy. And it's based on a few different things. And I'm going to try shrink this into the least long discussion possible. But basically, we have a large group of people that believe in wearing masks, and then we have a large group of people that believe in not wearing masks, and they both cite these different science things. And what it comes down to for me is I would listen to both science things, and if at the end of the day you saved even one person by wearing a mask, why wouldn't you just wear a mask? And besides that, I do believe the science that supports masks. I'm not wearing mine today. I forgot it in Vedette. I've been on the road all day. But I normally would be wearing a mask. Since Miners put in their mask policy, I've abided by that mask policy out of a couple things. One of them primarily is respect. And the understanding that so many people make this argument that we're infringing on some sort of right, but that they forget that all of these business owners are private business owners, and they have the right to refuse service if you want to invoke your right to not wear a mask, which is like kind of a soapbox thing, and I'm going to get off it in just a minute. But I would be in favor of supporting a mandatory mask policy because we have had a huge spike. And without it, I don't think it's going to get better. I think the only way to get better is to actually make people do things. We put a lot of trust in the community to start doing the right things, and then we have this huge, not huge, but I mean it's more than doubled in a couple weeks, right? And it's like we put that trust out there, and it kind of, I don't want to say it backfired entirely, but it did backfire a little bit. We let all these restaurants open up, and the restaurants are the ones with the positive workers, positive owner cases, that kind of thing, that it is a little bit of a backfire. And that's kind of what I want to avoid, is any more backfires.
Okay. Councillor Kraus?
I agree with everything you guys said. I think you've already got your major retailers they already have a mask policy. The city of Duluth, one of the largest cities in the state, has a citywide policy, and I believe that passed unanimously by their city council. So even there, so I guess I would be for it. I think.
Okay. Well, then I will get with the city administration, and we'll have a special city council meeting so we can have a discussion about it, and we can act one way or another, and we can have a policy that's actually before us, that's written, that we can see what it looks like. But I will work with Administrator Anderson, and I will get that out so we can have a policy to look at as a council. Thank you, guys. Next, we have adopt resolution authorizing the transfer of certain sewer lines and facilities from the North Cooch Area Sanitary District to the City of International Falls and authorize signatures. Do you want to just give a brief background on this, Administrator?
Certainly, Mayor. Thank you. We've discovered through our I&I, which is influent infiltration study, that the East Cooch, North Cooch, City of International Falls, and Rainier are all reviewing. And as part of that, there are some sanitary sewer lines and a couple lift stations that are in International Falls and still the responsibility of North Cooch. And essentially, because those fall within the City of International Falls as one entity, formerly they were in South Falls, and it handled flow from two cities. That's why North Cooch had responsibility for it. Now, it only handles the wastewater flow from International Falls. So the proposal is that that would come under the city's jurisdiction. So this resolution has been drafted for the city to consent to accepting maintenance and ownership responsibilities for the lift station number 2, which is at 5th Avenue East and 15th Street East, and then the sanitary sewer line that runs from that lift station all the way to the sanitary sewer ponds. So the North Cooch Board has already adopted an ordinance accepting and allowing the transfer to the city. This resolution would allow us to accept that lift station and the maintenance for it, as well as the sanitary sewer line. And the legal counsel for North Cooch wants to send this to the Mpca, get their approval, and then we can move forward with another resolution and formal adoption of a bill of sale and a transfer agreement that will also involve the transfer of a few other sewer lines. The reason why this one is kept separately is that back in 2012, some Public Facilities Authority financing monies were used by North Cooch to improve it, and because of that, it has to be handled separately and have Mpca approval. So the Public Works Committee had reviewed this and is recommending that we move forward with this approach. And I have actually sent a draft of this ordinance to the David Ober, who's the legal counsel for North Cooch, and he was okay with the minor revisions in language that we made to this. So we're asking for the council to approve this resolution so that he can send them down to Mpca, get their approval, and then at a subsequent meeting, we'll be asking for approval of another resolution and then a transfer agreement and bill of sale, which the Public Works Committee will review and make a recommendation before it comes to the City Council.
Okay. All right, so we have some information that just came from the City Administrator. The Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Nelson. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have a resolution to limiting the use permit agreement with MnDOT for shared use path for the Highway 53 right-of-way. City Administrator, background on that one.
Certainly, very briefly, the outgoing retiring project manager for the Highway 53 project indicated that MnDOT requires a limited use permit in order to have a shared use path in MnDOT right-of-way. And so on Highway 53, on the eastern side of the newly constructed right-of-way, or within their right-of-way on the new road that's being constructed, there will be a 10-foot paved path all the way from Memorial Drive down to 7th Street. And so they need to have a limited use permit issued to the city, and their rules require that that can only be done by the state of Minnesota and local units of government. So this resolution is asking the City Council to acknowledge that it has a responsibility to maintain and repair that trail, and then we will submit this resolution to MnDOT. They will prepare the limited use permit and then bring that back and disauthorize the signatures on that permit.
Okay. Chair, wow, I don't even know what I'm doing. Chair would entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Nelson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Deach. Any discussion,
Mr. Mayor?
please?
Just a question. Administrator Anderson, did you say that the city would be responsible for maintaining the trail?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
I'll vote yes, motion carries 4-0. Next, we have a road maintenance agreement between the Cooch County and the City of International Falls. Did we have a discussion on this one at the committee of the whole meeting? I think we did.
We did,
Okay.
yes.
You want to just give a quick background for everyone?
Well, for everyone's information, this is a routine maintenance agreement. I believe the last agreement that we had and then was enforced goes back to 1991. And this identifies all the county state aid highways within the city limits of International Falls that we currently maintain and will continue to maintain. What this agreement does is it updates the last one that we had in place, and it has a reimbursement that the county will make to the city for the maintenance costs that we incur on those roads. And it's essentially snow plowing, some tree maintenance, and things of that nature that are spelled out here. But it does change the amount that will be reimbursed, and that's listed in Section 4 on page 2. And I would just point out that the county would pay to the city the sum of $1,754.35 per lane mile. That means for each side of the road, we would get that amount to maintain this. And it comes out to a total of about $22,385.50 a year. And we would get a payment twice a year for that work that the city does on an ongoing basis. And it involves about 6.38 miles of roadway in the city. And this would be effective on July 1st, assuming that the council goes forward with this. And I would, if we do go ahead and adopt it, the county engineer is asking for a copy of this before Wednesday so they can have it on the county board adoption, or county board meeting next week for their adoption.
Okay, sounds good. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve that road maintenance agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Deach. We have a second by Councillor Kraus. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 4-0. Next, consider the acquisition of State Fire Marshal's used 2015 Dodge Ram 2500 crew cab pickup by purchase by the chemical assessment team. Chief Manasa.
Thank you, Mayor. I did include a proposal to the councilors. I hope you all saw that. I'll give you the short version here. The fire marshal's vehicles, what they are starting to do with them is offer them back to fire departments for somewhat reduced rate. In our situation, the CAT team specifically, we can use our reimbursement money to purchase those. We get $60,000 a year for the CAT team funds. This year specifically, we're going to have a hard time utilizing those funds, so if we purchase this vehicle, we actually don't have to cut a check or anything. It's just deducted from the reimbursement funds of the CAT team. One of the reasons we're looking at this is we're right now with having an employee on light duty work and doing the blight enforcement, we're kind of down a vehicle for the moment to make use of. With the CAT team funds also, we were given a Suburban originally with the CAT team. That vehicle struck a deer here a couple years ago and we ended up selling it, so we have not replaced that vehicle yet. So this would be what I would consider a decent option for replacing that vehicle and also utilizing for city services. The one advantage of using or purchasing these used vehicles from the state is they have been set up as emergency vehicles, meaning they are outfitted with emergency lighting, radio provisions, even though the radios will be removed. And then this one also includes a topper and a slide out, be very handy for what we need to do. I guess with that, like I said, kind of the short version, but I'll stand for any questions that you may have. Yes, sir?
Are these four-wheel or two-wheel?
This one is a four-wheel drive.
Okay.
I actually have a little bit of a working knowledge of this truck. This was our investigator that comes up to our area. So it was Rich Selman's out of Duluth. So I've I've actually, I don't know, seen the truck and been around it, and it's been kept in good shape.
Please.
Mayor, just a question for the chief. So, Chief, with the acquisition of this vehicle, if the council would move forward, what would we do for storage? Is that, I know storage has been kind of an issue that you and I have talked about, so
Yep.
what have you got planned for storing the vehicle?
We do. So one of the things we can do with this vehicle is, for the short term, it would be driven as a daily or city use drive vehicle. For storage issues, one of the things we're doing is the red decon trailer that was out front up until a week ago. That is a state-owned asset. The state informed us here about a month ago that they are no longer supporting those vehicles. They don't have the funds for it, and they're basically reached end of life. So that trailer is going to Central Lakes College in Brainerd. So we will no longer have that trailer. So we have an opened up stall in South Falls that we could utilize.
Okay.
Perfect.
We still need to get rid of more things. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So the chair would entertain a motion on whether to purchase the State Fire Marshal's used 2015 Dodge Ram.
So moved.
We have a motion to acquire the vehicle by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Nelson. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 4-0. Thanks a lot, Chief.
And it should be noted, just for council's information, I apologize, I forgot to say this, but purchasing the way we're purchasing with the CAT funds, that does remain the property of the state. So, meaning it's just like the hazmat truck we have, it is state property. So there's some, I don't want to say conditions, but usually at the end of the life, it's either we sell it and get what we can get for it and goes back into CAT funds, or they take it back. So there is that stipulation on there as well.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is authorized advertising for an RFP seeking professional services to install communications equipment for conducting broadcast video teleconferencing, remote meetings in the council chambers using CARES Act proceeds. Ken, do you want to just give a quick rundown? You want me to? I actually understand this one extremely well.
Go ahead.
So where we're at on this is we did receive a large amount of funding for CARES Act funding, and there's two things that we can do with the money as of right now. We can incur all of the costs that the city has associated with COVID-19, and we will be spending the money on that. There's also another stipulation that you can use, which is for technology due to COVID-19. As you can see, we have a very makeshift situation. We've had sound issues with our online streaming of these meetings, and one of the things that we can do is get a better system so that our city councilors and for the community as a whole are able to see and participate in the meetings a little bit better. One of the major issues that we've had as city councilors is we get a physical packet, but we don't have any way to log in to these meetings from home unless you're using your personal computer, your personal cell phone, and the information doesn't just come up as it should in a functional practicality. So one of the things that we're looking at doing is utilizing some of the CARES Act funding so that we can update our teleconferencing communications. Because big picture, we're probably going to be doing this for a long time. Not because COVID's going to run for a long time, but we're getting more participation from our community, able to log in, listen to the meetings, be active and engaged. We've had more people logging in just to listen to our council meetings and be part of it since COVID than ever before. And I'd like to continue doing this after the pandemic is over, being able to offer this service to our residents. So that's the background. There's another little piece of CARES Act funding where the city is looking at working with the county and making grants for local businesses that have kept track of their COVID-19 related finances, that we can probably help them out too. But that's down the road, and that's something else that we're looking at. But as of right now, we have a request for a proposal seeking professional services to upgrade our teleconferencing capabilities. Chair would entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Kraus. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Nelson. Any discussion?
Question.
Please.
Any idea of a dollar amount that we're looking at?
Last time that we did a proposal, which is one of the things that I believe you brought to the table, was our sound wasn't good for our for our KCC TV. So we did an RFP to try to get all of this all together at the time. And I believe the high end that did everything that we're looking at was around 35,000. I believe that was the number. But since then, we have updated our sound quality in the room. We've updated our microphones, and everything now is updated. So I think it's going to be less than that, because you should be able to incorporate everything that we've had done into the new system. So that's what this is just getting an RFP to find out what how much it would be to update this. So this isn't purchasing, this is just getting the information. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have consideration increase in pay for election judges to $13 an hour for the 2020 primary and general elections using CARES Act proceeds. Chair would entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Nelson. We have a second by Councillor Deach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
It's Betty.
Yes, I hear you, Betty. I hear you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was informed by the county and elections individuals as well that due to the hazardous situations that some of these people might be in, the county has received additional funding to make sure that we are buying extra safety items for our election judges. We are encouraging, everybody to wear masks and be as safe as possible. With these COVID monies, we just thought that it would be a good gesture to increase their hourly rate of pay for the next two elections in August and November.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 4-0. Next, any other business to come before the council? All right, we'll go to reports of boards, committees, and department heads. Administrator Anderson.
Mayor, I don't have anything else to add other than you did. As an addition, we have the blight report, which wasn't distributed with the packet last week. So.
Okay. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor and Council, been working very closely with Jared Baldwin to fight the blight. He did identify to me about a dozen properties that would qualify for criminal action if they weren't corrected. We got the first one of those in process. One of the things we discovered was that in order to process these criminally and file the complaints, we need to have the dates of birth of the defendant. So that set us back. We finally today got the dates of birth back to us for those other than the one that we had. So we're ready to proceed to go forward with those. About 3 of the people on the list did correct things between the time I was given their information and are preparing a complaint. We got a little setback. My assistant Sue is out all of this week because she's about to become a grandmother again, and she's with her daughter in the Twin Cities and won't be back until Monday. So next Monday we'll be proceeding with about 7 or 8 new criminal complaints, unless those people correct them in the interim. And I think Jared's available to provide more information as to the process. We do have a number of individuals that have been difficult issues for a number of years who have committed to make some progress and are going to work on it. So I think we're moving in the right direction. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Department heads, anybody have anything to bring up? Okay.
Question. Some of these sites not only had vehicles on their property, but fallen down fences and various other brush, weeds, whatever it may be, and they may have moved a car, but the rest of it looks as it did before. Are these being followed up for other than vehicles?
I would defer to Jared on that one.
Yeah, the vehicle's been a tough situation, and we're working through them, but, we're following up on whatever we're setting the house for, the property. Most properties, we're not citing for just one thing, there's numerous violations there, and, if they're, I started a process where if they're working with us, we'll work with them. So I have a list in the office downstairs of properties that have asked for extensions. They've done part of it. They're waiting to do a little bit more because of something that's come up. I guess if you have a property that you're concerned about, you could let me know and I can look into it. But for the most part, we are following up on weekly. If a vehicle's being moved and there's another issue there, we're checking the boxes as they're being completed.
Okay, my only concern is, I know that some of the places listed on your report here had vehicles, and the vehicle's gone, and this is since May, but the yard's still a mess.
Well, I started June 1st, so I guess I would have to look back on what the fire chief had done in May, but I guess I would have to look into what those properties were.
Okay.
And if the vehicles are gone, where we're at with them.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's good.
Okay, does that conclude our blight report information? Excellent. And then you have received the police monthly report, also the fire rescue EMS monthly report, and the building permit from the building and zoning administrator. Kelly, we're up, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
It's small projects, isn't it?
I believe that it's due to being at home and looking at repairing things, and also that you're talking to so many people. We are still dealing with some difficult buildings, which might be what Mr. Deach was referring to. Steve and I have spoken on some of them, and Jared and I have, so there's been some of those difficult.
Councillor Kraus.
Kelly, am I correct? Just looking at the residential, because, I sit on the housing committee and that's something that we're always talking about. Do we really have like 7 or 8 new residential properties or permits? I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I mean, are we building some houses or some places to live?
Building some houses, you're probably seeing residential is probably at a structure.
Okay.
That'd be more of that area. I wish I could give you a different news than that. We do have a couple prospective jobs that are out there that there's some site plans not for right now, but the owners are kind of contemplating when things go on, they're going to proceed with them this year.
Sorry, I was just really excited when I saw that because I know where our housing is always.
We do have a couple of new builds going on. There's one industrial avenue right now. That's the building that's going on pretty well. Nice looking building. Nice job with it. We do have some very good projects on the line right now that are waiting for other cities to
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you.
Reports to the mayor, council, boards and committees. I don't have anything this evening, nothing at all. Nothing.
Write it down.
Something's wrong.
Make sure you put that in the minutes, that Harley had nothing. In capital, all caps, nothing.
Council committees, boards and commissions, anybody else have anything to bring forward?
I think we've met.
Okay, sounds good. So now we're open audience again. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to bring anything forward to the council? If not, this will adjourn our meeting. Public reminder, our next regular council meeting is going to be Monday, August 3rd, 2020 at 5:30, and we do have a public hearing on Monday, July 27th at 5:30 in regards to the Northern Border Investments LLC alley vacation. So with that, this meeting is adjourned. You can stick around. We have a EDA meeting right after this. It's going to be great.